Yeah, yeah. You mentioned the AMF meter.
EMF.
The AMF makes athletic equipment. The EMF meter. What is the EMF meter?
Well, this is one of the common tools that you'll see on a lot of the paranormal shows these days. It's basically a meter that picks up electrical fields. So the lights around the studio, your television, the wiring in your wall, these meters are designed usually for electricians to trace wires and walls to find out where current is flowing. Well, one of the theories is that ghosts or spirits or paranormal phenomenon give off electrical fields, because one of the theories is, well, there might be some kind of energy involved and maybe electrical energy is part of it. And so people will take these meters into locations and kind of move around and see if they start beeping and the numbers start going up, which is an indicator that there's an electrical field nearby. Now, certainly if you go over to your lamp and the numbers goes up, it doesn't mean your lamp's haunted, it means your lamp has electricity running through it. But these can be misused, and they can be, we've actually seen some really striking, interesting things. On one case, there was a case where there was a moving cold spot about that big that you could put your hand in and it would feel cold and it would tingle and your hair would stand up. You could take the EMF meter and start it here, bring it in, and it would go up and then go down, and then you could go in every direction and it would go down. Which normally, let's say the electrical current was in the table and I bring it here and say, oh look, there's a ghost. And it gets louder as I move towards the table. Well, it's just there's a wire in the table. This, there was no source, it was in the middle of an open room. That to me is a little more compelling and interesting than just walking in a room and saying it's, oh look, the meter's going up. We don't know what ghosts are, we don't know what they give off, and we're not sure why they would give off electricity. But that's what those meters essentially do.
In Pennsylvania, we have, of course, the battlefield of Gettysburg, which there's a significant trade goes on in Gettysburg for ghost stories and lots of sightings of soldiers in a variety of different places. And there are a lot of explanations for why they're there, because they had something else to do. Are there, in the paranormal scientific community, as it were, is there any hypothesis as to the why?
Well, you have to remember that ghosts were people. And a lot of people tend to forget that. They think that ghosts or spirits are something else, some alien entity. A lot of people, they're afraid of dying. And when they die, it's possible, just like the movie The Sixth Sense, that for whatever reason, they deny their death. They still feel as if they're alive. It's comfortable. It's comfortable to think that you're still alive, that you're still doing these things. We also have we divide ghosts into two categories too. One is residual. And with that, we call ghosts residual energy, which is mainly, like a psychic tape going over. It's like, it's like replaying something over and over again. These are spirits or ghosts that you can't interact with, that they just repeat at certain activities over and over again. Why? There's a bunch of theories on that. But then you have spirits whom you can interact with, who you can have dialogue with, whom may or may not know that they're dead. And of course, a lot of people, they're tied to their possessions. So the old lady down the street who's lived in the house for 60 years suddenly dies, and yet then a new couple moves in there and they start smelling old perfume and furniture starts moving. It's likely it's her. And that's how a lot of hauntings start, believe it or not. It's just someone died there, people move in, and they take over, and the ghost or spirit is quite angry about it. Or they're quite freaked out because suddenly their furniture is moving too.
This conversation can really give you the willies after a while. So you mentioned black mists very at the top of the program, and you're mentioning spirits and residual spirits, and that's two classifications of ghost. How many different types of unexplained phenomenon within this realm are we really talking about here?
Well, it depends on who you talk to. There's just an infinite range of stories and folklore about this type of, about the whole paranormal experience. What we tend to see and what the other professionals tend to see, the people that do this and do this all the time, is we tend to see the more conscious, active spirit, which seems to be a conscious entity, kind of like you or me, but without a body. We tend to see the recordings, which is like old Grandma Moses walks down the steps Wednesday at 8 o'clock every Wednesday, and it never changes, and that's all she does. We then also see inhuman entities, which is a reference to something that never was human. It wasn't a human that died. And this is getting back to the demonic, the idea that there are forces in the world, in the universe, for whatever reason, that were there before us, will be there after us, and we have much less understanding of them. They also seem to be a lot more potent in the sense that those are often the things that manifest as a black form. We have photos from some of our cases of one coming, it seemed to come from one end of a room, fairly big, thick and solid enough you can't see through it, rolled its way across the room, didn't diffuse, it wasn't like smoke, it kind of looks like smoke, and then went into a mirror on the far side of the room, exiting the room through the mirror. This is the same house where somebody was woken with a black something on top of them and choked and thrashed in the bed to the point where they had red marks on their throat, and they haven't slept in that bedroom since. These entities seem to be much more physically potent. They can move more heavier objects. Generally, ghosts seem to be able to move about 10 pounds max if they're working on their own. These inhuman entities, doesn't matter. Could be a large bureau, could be a king-size bed, throws it around. It's a very different game.
Wow. It's unfortunate that I have run out of time. Thank you very much for joining us. That is going to wrap things up for this edition of Pennsylvania Inside Out. As always, we do invite your response to this program. Please do drop us an email, painsideout@psu.edu. Our thanks to our guests this evening, paranormal researcher Ryan Buell and psychologist Adam Bly. For all of us here at Pennsylvania Inside Out, thanks for joining us. I'm David Price. Good night.